Welcome to episode 5 of the No Code Ninja series. In this episode, we're going to revisit an automation we worked on back in episode 3, which was a news scraping content automation. And what we were doing in that automation is we were getting AI news, we were scraping and summarizing these news articles, and we were posting it on a social platform. So I recommend you guys watch that video if you want to get the full context of this video. What we're doing in this lesson is we're going to optimize this automation. So let's get cracking. So back in our last episode 3, we built this automation. How it worked was we were getting news via the news API, and we were iterating through each of the news articles, updating our Google spreadsheet. Then we were using CrawlBase to scrape each news article URL and then use the HTML to text parser to convert that and then send it to ChatGPT4. And then we were updating our Google Sheet. Now, ChatGPT4, the more you use it, it can get quite costly. And we have an opportunity to potentially remove CrawlBase as well. Now, I've been doing a bit of research. I've been playing with Grok Chat. And for those who don't know, Grok is another form of LLM. It's a little bit different to ChatGPT. You can learn about it yourself. But one thing it does really well is it can go through websites and retrieve information. So you can have a read here about that. And I recommend that you guys play with it. So we're going to be using Grok Chat to replace CrawlBase, to replace this text parser, and to replace ChatGPT, all in one module. So let's do that. So let's go to grok.com and log in, create an account, and we want to go to Grok Cloud. So let's go to Grok Cloud, and what we want to do is go to API keys, and we're going to create an API key. Name it whatever you like, and just save it in a notepad somewhere else where we can access it. Just click done. Great. Now we're going to go back to our make automation, and this was an automation that we worked on, right? Now it might be good just to keep this so we don't we don't break anything. We can go back to it just in case. Sometimes it's good to keep an old version of your automation as you upgrade it, in case you need to go back to what you had. So what we can do is we can go out, and there's an option, and we can click clone, and we're just going to call this Grok. And there's an option, keep the states of any new modules the same as those being duplicated. So the states sometimes are important because, let's say if you were using this automation and you were actually using it, you might be up to a specific article, you might be up to a certain part in the automation process. So if you want to keep that state, click yes. If you just want to start fresh, click no. I'm just going to click no, save. Great. Now, what we're going to do is let's just remove ChatGPT. Let's remove this. And we're going to remove this CrawlBase. So let's add Grok. So let's look for Grok, right? So if we write Grok, there's nothing here, right? So that means that Make hasn't got a module for Grok. That doesn't mean that we cannot integrate. We still can integrate with Grok. We can create an HTTP request. So just simply search for HTTP, make a request. We're going to add that there. And what we want to do is we want to learn about how we can integrate with Grok, right? So if we go to Grok Cloud, we've got some documentation. It's always helpful to read the documentation when you're trying to integrate with external services and different applications. So we can use this to our make HTTP module, and we can use this information. So here it says we can do a post, and we can post to this URL, and we need to have an API key. We need to make sure that we have this content type, and this is what we can do. We can put this information. Looks like there is a query in here, like explain the importance of low latency LLMs, and it's got a model there that it's using. So we can use this information, and let's do that. So let's grab this. I'm going to grab that, and let's put that there. Now the method that it was saying was to post. So let's ensure that we post. I'm going to update our headers. So we're looking for this authorization. And just make sure that when you are copying, you are specifically just copying everything within the quotation marks. So let's just, otherwise it won't work. And we've got bearer, so we're going to add bearer as the value, and we have to add our API key as well. So put a space, enter your API key. We're going to add another header, and we're going to get the content type. Copy this application/JSON. Beautiful. And the last messages. All right, so here we've got a little bit of JSON. So what we can do is just make sure you copy at the beginning of that curly bracket and end there, and copy that. And what we want to do is we're going to add the body type as raw, content type as JSON, and we're going to update our request here. So great, and it's always good to pass the response, but let's just leave it as no for now and just test if this works. So we're going to hit OK. We're going to run this module. Okay, it looks like 200. Looks like we got something back. What did we get back? Data. Alright. So remember, we were asking about the importance of low latency LLMs, and it's coming back with a response. So great. So this is what we're getting back. You can see that, this data is really just, it's a bit messy. It's just like a giant blob. So what we can do is go back and pass the response and hit OK, and then run the module again. And let's see it now. So we look at it. Choices, 1, message, role assistant, and look, the data is a little bit more readable. It's clean. So this is great. Alright, so let's go to the next stage, and we're going to edit this so we can scrape our URL. So what we want to do is we want to pass a URL to Groq. We want Groq to scrape it, and we want it to summarize it so we can use it as a post. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this HTTP module, and really what we need to do is update this prompt in content, which is we're going to add our own prompt here. So what we're going to do is I've got a prompt that I have prepared, and I'm going to update it and explain it. So I'm going to grab that, and where it says explain, Just make sure I copy. Just got to be careful you copy information correctly. Sometimes it's easy to make a mistake, and if this request content is inaccurate, then it won't work. And the other thing is to make sure you don't put any spaces. So if you put a line break, that means for example, if I press enter like this, that's no good. You don't want that. You want everything to be on the same line. So it's always good to just make sure that you are doing things correctly. So this is the prompt that I've got, and it says you are an AI automation educator using the following news URL below. Create a LinkedIn post giving a prediction or general commentary on the news. Use a snarky, casual tone. Make it detailed, well thought out post. And then I have the news summary and then the URL. So what we want to do is we've got this URL. We want to get the URL from the iterator. So we're going to click that. So what that's doing is the iterator is going through each of the news articles the news API is giving us, and we are passing each URL into Groq. And then we have some constraints, maximum 500 characters, and we want to make sure that we pass the response, and that's great. So let's just make sure that we hit OK and always save. Let's just save anyways. Just save that. Okay, and now let's just test this module. So if we just go run this module only, now it's asking for what is this URL. So I've got a news article here. I've got this news article. I'm just going to take this and put it in there just so we can test this. Hit OK. And looks like 200. Beautiful. Data. Choices. Message. And here is the content. Great. So there you have it. You've got Groq. You can use Groq to read websites, summarize it. It's pretty cool. I would encourage you guys to check it out. And in terms of getting these posts scheduled, I recommend you go back and watch episode 3, where I go about how do you go about scheduling and then posting and integrating to, for example, something like LinkedIn. You can really integrate with anything. But here in this tutorial, we just wanted to show you guys on what you can do in scenarios where, Make doesn't have a specific module or an app that you can use. And how do you integrate with anything really? So how we do that is we go through the API documentation, have a read of it. The other thing is, get used to troubleshooting. You can ask Groq. Like, that's what I did when I was trying to integrate and learn about all this stuff. I was asking it, how do I integrate with you? And it was actually really helpful. So that's all I have for today. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.